Hello there, welcome back to my bathroom. This is Hannah Levin with Heartfelt Wellbeing, and we're going to be discussing Neti today. But I also have some Nasya oil, which I'm going to show you as well, because really what I want to get at is I'm filming this in April. It's springtime. You might hear that I sound a little congested. And it's a time of year when there's more mucus prevalent, kapha season, and that it's great to be able to clear out congestion, but also support yourself so that you're not taking in so many contaminants, which might be pollens, perhaps spring allergy inducers. So there's many things that we can do with diet, with lifestyle habits, things like that in the springtime, which we discuss at other points. And there are these really great self-care tools that are Neti and Nasya to help with the respiratory system and specifically that sinuses and nasal passageways. So Neti, which is what we're going to focus on today, uses a neti pot. So these are becoming more and more popular. So I'm going to introduce you to this is a pretty typical neti pot that you can find in most, I don't know, drugstores now, I think, carry these. So that's exciting. This is made out of pottery, made out of clay. So it's ceramic, mold made. This one's made in China. And so it's, pretty simple. This is a copper neti pot that's from India. And what the neti pot is made out of kind of can make a difference too. It was mentioned when I announced I was doing this, somebody said, don't use a plastic neti pot. And there is the reality that plastic can leach if, we're all into like BPA free stuff, but some of the things that are used when they're BPA free aren't much better than the BPA. So using a plastic neti pot might not be your best solution always. If you're using it a lot. I do actually have a plastic neti pot here that I use when I travel, and I think of it more as my safety net, that I just put it in my backpack, and I very rarely use it, but it's there if I need it and I don't have to worry about it breaking. You don't want to put super hot water in your neti pot if it's plastic, and so that's something that you can avoid for sure by not mixing your water inside the neti pot. So today I have this lovely cup that is full of water that has been boiled. So this is what I'm going to use for neti potting. Now, you want to make sure that your water is really clean and not contaminated. So there are also reports out there of people that have done neti pot and got some sort of amoeba or, some sort of thing that came into their body through neti potting and then causes disease. So that's another thing, right? There's risks to everything we do and everything we don't do. So I don't want to say create a lot of fear here. I say be wise. So it's helpful if you boil the water. So this water has been boiled. It's ready for tea basically, but I've had it in this mug, so it's cooling. It still feels warm, but I'm letting that cool. So if I was say using my plastic neti pot, I would mix the water and the salt or saline solution in a ceramic mug, let it cool to a good temperature so it's not hot enough to pull the gunk out of the plastic, and then use it. But I do that anyway, whether I'm using a ceramic or a copper neti pot. So Mary Frances, thanks for doing this. You're very welcome. Mary Ann says, is distilled water okay? Yes, distilled water is fine. You can definitely use distilled water. The idea is that you want to be able to irrigate the sinuses. So irrigating the sinuses, you don't need, mineralized water. You are going to put in something into the water. So you can use non-iodized salt. So make sure it doesn't have iodine in it. So non-iodized salt. If you'd like to make it a little more soothing, you can add a pinch of baking soda to that. So some people do really strong salt. I used to use salt a lot and it really dried out my sinuses. So here's something that's interesting, right? If we understand our Ayurvedic constitution, is we can see that even if there's mucus, like I'm having a little congestion today, that there's a tendency towards dryness in my body because I have a Vata predominant body. So I don't want to do things that push too much towards drying because I don't want to overdo it and send myself into another imbalance, even though right now I have an imbalance of excess moisture in my head, right? So you need to find the solution that works best for you. So what I have found is using these are nasal relief sinus wash packets. The active ingredients are sodium bicarbonate and sodium chloride. So you can buy like a whole box of these at your local drugstore for a few dollars, and they last forever and ever. And so especially when I travel, I'll throw a couple of these in my travel case too. So then I just have those ready to mix in. This feels a lot less drying and abrasive to me. But again, you can just use non-iodized salt and just a pinch of it. Some people are like, ooh, put a quarter of a teaspoon or something. That feels like a lot to me. And so you just need a little bit. You're making your own saline solution basically. So a pinch of salt, a pinch of baking soda, and you're good to go. So let's get this mixed up here. I think you can see this cup. So, and I just put a half of one of these packets in here. So again, you want to find what works for your body, and I'm not measuring this exactly. So then I just roll this up and I set it aside for next time. So this time of year, I'm, neti potting, I don't know. Well, right now, because I'm congested, I'm neti potting like once a day. But other times of the year, I'll neti pot once a week or every other week or something. It's just nice to clear out the sinuses. So the idea is that we have a nasal rinse. So you're putting water into one nostril and it drains out the other nostril, and then you do it the other way. So we have this clearing out of the sinuses. This is really great to do if you know you've been around a lot of pollen, if you've been around a lot of dust, like at a construction site or something, sand, debris, anything that you know is just like gunking up your nasal passages. The hairs in your nasal passages are there to collect the stuff in the air that's coming in, also including viruses. So as we can keep things cleared out in the sinuses, that's really helpful. The more kapha you have in the constitution, you can do neti more often. Really clear this out, especially if you have a tendency towards congestion. And some of us can have congestion even if that's not a predominant part of our constitution. Kapha is congestion, or congestion is kapha. So even if that's not a predominant part of your constitution, like I struggled for years and years through my teens and 20s with chronic sinus infections. Now that's a condition of congestion in the head, which is very kapha. I don't have much kapha in my constitution, but it was an imbalance. So the more kapha that's showing up, the more frequently you can do neti. So I used to do neti twice a day year round. Like I was just like an allergic mess. But that was before I found Ayurveda and figured out how to not be an allergic mess. So I'm going to demonstrate actually with both of these. So I've got my water in here with my saline solution mixed in there. So I'm going to pour part of it in this ceramic one and part of it in the copper one. So I mentioned before that the material that the neti pot is made out of makes a difference. So in the Ayurvedic teachings, copper is used to calm kapha. So if you use like a copper tongue scraper, which I started using when I was having lots of sinus congestion, still, I still use a copper tongue scraper. A copper neti pot helps infuse the water with kapha clearing energy. Okay, ceramic is more neutral and much easier to find. But if you're wanting to get into like the materials of the neti pot, that's something you can think about. So the water sitting in the copper neti pot makes a difference for how that, it's cumulative. Like if you're just doing this once, then it's not a big deal. But if you're doing this regularly, it makes a difference. Okay, so I'm gonna demonstrate. Again, most people will be like, okay, just do this, see you later. So I'm gonna actually let you watch me do this neti pot experience. So I'm not gonna talk. I don't think I can talk while I do this. I'm gonna put the neti pot nozzle in this nostril and then lean my head over. It's gonna drain out. So I think, no, I can't really talk. So you see it's draining. Oh. Okay, so here's another really interesting thing. You can pause throughout. I didn't use up all that water. And when you pause, you're probably going to want to blow your nose. But you don't actually want to blow your nose with either of the nostrils closed off, because that can send the water into your ear canals, and we don't want to contribute towards an ear infection. Stuff is going in my mouth now too. So what we want to do is just blow gently out both nostrils. Okay, so it starts creating like a little bit of a snotty, messy mess. And I'm letting you see me do this. So now I'm going to do the other side. See if I can do it from this angle with the ceramic neti pot. So you can find the angle kind of that, maybe I can kind of talk. So you're blocking off the back of your throat so you don't have water coming down the back of your throat, and it's just going through the other nostril, and you can find the angle where it just comes out. You kind of flare your nostrils. I don't know if you can see much here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just blowing. Okay, and I do have a tissue here. So now, oh my goodness, that felt so good to have that cleared out. So if you do this right, it will not feel like getting water up your nose, like if you're in a pool or the ocean or something and you get water up your nose. If you do this well, so that the back of your throat is blocked off and the water can just flow through, it'll just feel like really cleansing. So I'm going to blow my nose into a tissue, but again, I'm not going to push on one side or the other because I don't want to blow any of that water into my ear canals. Okay, so I'm just going to blow both nostrils at the same time. And then wipe up whatever comes out. And I've got some water on my chin here. Okay, so Lynn says, you are beautiful, Hannah Elizabeth Levin, and brave and helpful to us all. Well, I hope you all know that doing something like this, it's not glamorous, but it's in service to all of us, hopefully being happier and healthier. So already my nasal passages are more open. It feels really good. So here's the other thing. I am going to kind of dry out my nasal passages, get that water out. And so the other practice for helping us during allergy season, well, one of the other practices, there's many that can be really helpful, is using Nasya oil. So Nasya oil can be just plain sesame oil, but there's also Nasya oils that are sold. This is one of my favorites. It's called Super Nasya oil. It's made by the Ayurvedic Institute. It's Cytosoma Supreme. All Nasya oils generally are made in a sesame oil base. This one they often have like eucalyptus in them to help open up the sinuses. This one also has sandalwood, camphor, and rose, which I really like. Sandalwood and rose are both really nice for pitta too, and allergies tend to be a pitta response. So what I'm going to do here is just put a little bit on my pinky. I don't know if you can see that here. It's beginning to drip off. And then I'm going to rub my pinkies together. So I'm getting oil on my pinkies. So here's another not very glamorous thing to watch somebody else do, but you can watch me do it. I'm going to stick these up my nose and rub them around and inhale. So what am I doing besides looking really funny? So now I'm gonna smoosh this around while I'm inhaling. So I'm spreading that oil out in my nose. So this oil ends up coating the nasal hairs so that they become a little more sticky. So things that you're breathing in throughout the day. So it's basically like allergy protection. So I'm protecting myself from the pollens and debris. And it also soothes the mucosal membranes. So if they're feeling raw or dry or irritated, that oil helps soothe the mucosal membranes. So pairing Neti and Nasya and doing them in that order, Neti and then Nasya, is really great. So you can imagine if you just did Nasya and then did the Neti, it would kind of like wash it out. But if you do the Neti, so you clear out the sinuses and then put in the oil, that can be really, really helpful. So now we're ready to go into the day, feeling really strong and cleared out and supported, with a little protective energy there for allergy season. Now this is something you are welcome to do year round if it feels really great. I recommend doing it either in the morning or in the evening or both. So yeah, it can be very, very helpful and can help you avoid sinus infections, long-lasting colds, and just dealing with ongoing congestion. So have at it. So Mary Fran says, I find a half hour later or so, my nose releases water. So that means that you're somewhere in your nasal cavity and sinuses, you're holding on to some of the water. So one thing I recommend doing, that's a great question, I don't know if I can show you this here, is to hang in a forward fold for a moment and let the head hang and then come up very slowly and then see if water drains out. So I'm getting over the sink here to see if it, yep, here comes, I don't know if you all can see out this nostril, a couple of drops. It's dripping in the sink. So that is really helpful. I like doing this and then doing a little bit of yoga, which would put me upside down and then tilt me back up, and it releases the water. So you might have a little drop or two, and I just bring a tissue with me to my yoga mat, and then as it comes out, I have my tissue there. So yeah, so play around with this. Really remember not to close off one of your nostrils and blow really hard when you are getting the water out. This is gentle and supportive. So that's your Nasya and a little bit of Neti practice your neti, a little bit of Nasya practice for today. And, oh good, Mary Ellen had the same question. So I hope that this is helpful. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if other questions come up. Wishing you a happy and healthy spring time, and keeping your senses clear. So this is one of the ways that we attend to the nose. So we've got 4 other senses: our eyes, our ears, our mouth, and our skin. And Ayurveda says that if we can keep our sense organs functioning and very acute, we do not age, right? So maybe our skin gets wrinkles, maybe our body changes, but if our senses are acute, we stay young. And if you think about it, like that's where we really get to enjoy life, is smelling things, tasting things, hearing things, seeing things, feeling things. So this practice of neti is really helpful for keeping the nose functioning well, happy, healthy sinuses, nasal passages, etc. So have at it, everyone. Go find a neti pot if you don't have one yet, and let me know how it goes. All right, till next time, take care, everybody. Bye.